And today we're diving into a topic that almost every learner struggles with: how to think in English instead of translating from your native language. If you've ever felt stuck mid-sentence because you're trying to translate word for word in your head, this episode is for you. By the end of today's episode, you'll have practical strategies to shift from translation mode into real English thinking mode. Why translating holds you back. Let's start with the problem. When you rely on translation in your head, two big challenges show up. 1. It slows you down. Picture this. Someone asks you a simple question. What did you have for lunch? Instead of just answering, your brain takes a detour. First, you think in your native language. Then you search for the English equivalent. Finally, you speak. By the time you're ready, the natural flow of conversation is gone, and you might feel pressured, awkward, or even embarrassed. 2. It causes mistakes. Languages don't line up word for word. If you translate too literally, your English can sound robotic or even confusing. For example, in English we say, "I miss you." But in other languages, the idea is expressed differently, like, "You are missed by me." Translate that directly, and it just doesn't sound right. The same happens with everyday phrases. A native English speaker might casually ask, "How's it going?" If you translate it literally, you might think, "Going where?" But in English, it's just another way of saying, "How are you?" This is why learning to think directly in English is a game changer. Instead of getting stuck in the slow lane of translation, you'll be able to respond quickly, smoothly, and naturally, just like a real conversation should be. What does it mean to think in English? So, what does thinking in English really mean? It doesn't mean you'll suddenly erase your first language or stop using it. Your native language will always be part of you. What it does mean is that you train your brain to connect your thoughts directly to English words, phrases, and structures, without taking a detour through translation. Think of it like this: old way, native language, translate; English new way, idea, English. For example, imagine you're thirsty. Right now, you might think in your first language, "Tango said," and then translate it into, "I am thirsty." That's the slow route. But when you train your brain to think in English, the moment you feel that thirst, your brain instantly goes to, "I'm thirsty." No middle step. That's what fluency feels like. Smooth, direct, and automatic. It's the same when someone asks you a casual question. Instead of hearing, "What's up?" and pausing to decode it, your brain just knows. It's a friendly greeting, and you can reply naturally with, "Not much. How about you?" Thinking in English is like upgrading your brain from the translation app version to the native speaker mode. It makes your conversations faster, more natural, and much less stressful. Practical tips to train your brain. All right, let's get into the how. How do you actually train your brain to think in English? Here are some proven strategies. Tip 1. Start small with objects around you. Look at your surroundings. At your desk, say, pen, notebook, phone, laptop, glass of water. Train your brain to link the object directly to the English word, skipping your native language completely. Tip 2. Narrate your day. Talk yourself through your actions. Keep it simple. I'm brushing my teeth. I'm making coffee. I'm waiting for the bus. You don't need fancy grammar. Just practice forming quick, direct thoughts in English. Over time, your brain starts doing this automatically. Tip 3. Use English for inner dialogue. We all talk to ourselves silently throughout the day. Start switching that voice into English. Even small thoughts like, "I'm hungry," That's interesting, or I forgot my keys, make a huge difference. Tip 4. Learn phrases, not single words. Instead of memorizing one word like make, learn chunks such as make a decision, make a mistake, make dinner. Why? Because when you think in phrases, you don't have to build sentences word by word. You already have ready-to-use patterns. Tip 5. Immerse daily, even without travel. You don't have to live in an English-speaking country. You can create an English environment where you are. Change your phone and computer settings to English. Watch shows, YouTube, or movies in English, with or without subtitles. Listen to podcasts, music, or audiobooks in English daily. Follow social media accounts in English. Your brain learns fastest when English surrounds you naturally. Tip 6. Think visually, not with translation. When you see a dog, picture the dog and immediately think dog in English, not the word in your language first. This strengthens the direct connection. Now, let's talk about something very real: fear of mistakes. Many learners hesitate to think in English because they're worried. What if I use the wrong word? What if my grammar is bad? Here's the truth. Mistakes are not the enemy. They are proof that you're practicing. Think about kids. When children learn to speak, they make hundreds of mistakes. Wrong tenses, funny sentences, incomplete thoughts. But they keep going. And that's why they improve. So let go of perfection. Even if your English is broken, the key is you're thinking in English. And that's a huge step toward fluency. Before we wrap up, I have a challenge for you. For the next 24 hours, choose one part of your day, maybe your commute, your workout, or your cooking time, and commit to thinking only in English during that time. If you get stuck, don't switch back to your native language. Simplify. Use the words you already know. Example: if you don't know how to say, I'm chopping onions, just say, I cut vegetables. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be English. Try it and see how much more natural it feels after a day. Repeat this daily, and you'll notice your brain automatically starting to think in English without effort. That's all for today's episode. If you found these tips helpful, make sure to subscribe, share this episode with a friend, and leave a review. It really helps the show reach more learners like you. Remember, the more you practice, the more natural English will feel. Stop translating. Start thinking in English and watch your fluency grow. Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and keep thinking in English.